Hi everybody, how's it going? It's Jackson. Welcome back to Daily Endeavours for November the 2nd. So there are two sets of crown crates that will come into the Seals of Endeavour store this month. So I just want to let people know that the Celestial crates will come around November 6th, so in 4 days, around until November 20th. And then after that we've also got the Sovngarde crates until December. So if you want to check out the stuff from them, I'll link the UESP pages that have the items in each of these in the description if you want to check what's coming from these. Okay, so Endeavours, it's a pretty easy set. In my personal opinion, you should not bother with killing a player in Cyrodiil or completing a tribute match unless you enjoy doing those things. For like, if you're a PvP player, if you're a tribute player, do these, that's fine. I just think they're going to be much slower. As this one here potentially could be quick, but in most cases, you're not going to be able to do this as quickly as these three options here. These ones are really easy, really simple. So in my opinion, just do these. Don't bother with these ones. Tribute Match requires you to have High Isle. It doesn't say here, but you need that DLC in order to access it. If you go to Tales of Tribute, yeah, it says you need to find it in Gonfalon Bay in High Isle. So yeah, if you don't have that DLC, you can't even do it anyway. So and yeah, it usually takes around 20 minutes to do a Tales of Tribute match. Probably shorter if you're just going to skip through, but the other player, who knows how long they're going to take, so yeah. Okay, so firstly, emotes. This is probably one of the easiest in the game. All you got to do is go to, on keyboard, you just type splash to open up the emote page or whatever it is, and then you just type NO, and that's the quickest emote in the game. So on controller, it's slightly different. You just open up the menu, go to social, go to emotes, and just anything here, doesn't matter which one you hit, you just select it, and then that's it. And yeah, same thing works there. Okay, blacksmithing crafting. There's two things I suggest here. You either craft 4 iron daggers for 8 iron ingots and 4 star materials, which is the absolute cheapest thing you can craft 4 of, or you can just do a crafting writ. If you're not familiar, I suggest you look up a guide on how crafting writs work. These are really valuable. There's so many guides out there, I feel like I don't really need to make one of my own. I'm just wasting time, because yeah, other people explain it way better than me. But yeah, they just, basically it's just, you're given a quest, you craft 3 like metal items, and then you hand them in and you get like a reward. Sometimes you can get surveys, which are really helpful for other endeavors. Sometimes you get tempering alloys, which are really good for upgrading metal weapons and heavy armor. I always upgrade my weapons, and like metal is probably the most common one that you'll upgrade. So yeah, I highly suggest doing those, because yeah, golding weapons is like the most valuable thing you can do to increase your damage in this game, or just like increase your effectiveness as a like fighter. Or a healer or a tank or whatever it is. Now, if you want to just craft some iron daggers, you need iron ingots and you need adamantite, or just whatever style material your character uses. Any blacksmith in the game, you'll find these generally around the blacksmithing stations. Talk to these people. They sell you all of the style materials that all the races use of base game, so you'll always find one that your race can use. So adamantite for Hyle, for example, for me. You might be able to use other ones if you've read the other motifs. It's only 60 gold to do something like that. Like 60 gold is very little gold, like amount of gold. You can get that in a minute or two. If you have no gold in the game, let me just again say that in the description there are some like endeavor tutorials. One of them just shows you how to get some gold quickly. Basically just run for a minute and then you'll find some gold, essentially, and you can just do it over and over. So if you really need gold, you can check out that if you want. But yeah, I assume most people at least have that kind of gold. Now, as for iron ingots, you can get these from guild stores, but what I suggest, if you don't have any iron ingots at all, and you're really short on money, you can also just find some items and deconstruct them. Let me show you how that works. So you need stolen items, because for some reason picking up like items from Imperial City and stuff like that, it does, like, you deconstruct those, you get fuck all out of them, compared to if you pick up stolen items, you get way more materials. So what I suggest you do is create a new character, or just go on like a character that's below level 15-ish. I assume if you can't create a level 15 character at this point, you're probably established enough where you won't be watching the video like this. So I'm just going to assume everybody's got like a character that they can create. Go to a location where you can be hidden from the guards so you don't get a bounty, and just start grabbing anything metal related. So there are some places that you can really get away with this quite easily. This area here in this is Brightsteel Armory in Oridon. This place is easy to get to for everyone because this way shrine is unlocked by default, so you can travel here whenever you're ready. There are these weapon racks over here with some weapons on it. And yeah, over here you've also got some weapon racks. You just need to be a bit careful with Rayandor here, or Vandalion over here. You see to make sure they're looking away. Even if they are, like... Even if you're not in stealth, you can still take this stuff. It just as long as they're not looking at you at the time. But for example, if I come over here, I should actually just be able to take this sword without getting bounty. Yeah, there you go. So just as long as nobody's watching you, you can take that stuff. One of the easiest locations to get a couple of items is the guard tower over here, because it's right next to the way shrine, really easy to reach. The only thing in there is the single guard, and they're usually like looking a certain direction, so you can just go behind them and steal stuff. And there's quite a few metallic items in there. So just grab a couple of those. Also in the Fighters Guild, there's a heap of stuff. In the Aegis of Oriel, there's heaps of heavy armor, but there's 3 NPCs and they're constantly looking around, so I struggle a little bit with that. Once you got your items, just go to the like a crafting station and just deconstruct them. And you'll get a couple of iron ingots from this, so you only need 8 for that. You can also go out and mine some iron ore, but that can take some time compared to this. Like, it's way quicker just doing this instead. And you can just go into a dungeon and like grab some items there. But yeah, as I said, non-stolen stuff just takes ages to like get anything meaningful. So that's what I'd recommend. Once you get 8 iron ingots from just deconstructing some stuff that you've stolen, you can just go ahead and craft them. And the good thing about stealing blacksmithing items and deconstructing them is the stuff that you get when you deconstruct your stolen items actually becomes legit, like it's not stolen. So if you end up getting a bounty and you get pulled over, you don't lose the iron ingots if you've deconstructed them. So you can just pay off the bounty and then still have the iron ingot in your inventory, which is nice. Now, if you do want to mine blacksmithing ores, Jesus Christ, let me clear this a bit and just give you the chance here. Okay, so this is all the blacksmithing ore locations that I've found in Craglorn. Craglorn's probably the best place to go because you can get Nurkrux, which you can sell or use yourself for various effects. But yeah, every little blue like mining icon here, these are all ore locations. Now, sometimes you can get pewter seams instead of well, not pewter seams, so just like jewelry seams instead of blacksmithing ores, and in that case it might slow you down a bit, but this will still likely be quicker than going and trying to find a player to kill in Cyrodiil. Yes, you don't have to kill them, it's just an assist, but I still think this is just going to be way quicker and way more simple. Alright, now on to the last option, Infinite Archive Versus. So to find Infinite Archive, it's found here in the Apocrypha zone. Despite being in this zone, it is a base game option, so as soon as you create a character, you can go to a Wayshrine and access this immediately, regardless of which DLCs you own. Now, this is a little challenging, a little more so than Overland, but it's about as difficult as like a early dungeon. Early group dungeon. So it's not really difficult. I think as long as you've got a self-heal, you'll be fine in here. If you have access to a companion, for example, like Ember, as I would use here, these can also help you too. They can take aggro from you, and you know they can help you do a bit more damage. Or you can just bring another player in here, but that kind of defeats the purpose of being able to do this on your own. But it's your call. Basically, if you've got a heal, I think you can handle this. And it will only take a few minutes usually. So, whenever you're ready, just enter the Archival Wings. And once you're ready, you just enter this black circle, and this starts the fight. So the very first wave will just be 3 enemies. It'll be 2 melee and 1 range enemy. Probably one. Oh god, let me slow down. Probably one of the most annoying attacks the enemies have is this negate here. So any Stormcaster, any Conduit, any enemies with those 2 names, they're the ones you want to kill first, because they're the ones that tend to do the negates. If you're struggling for sustain, I would advise, once you've got 1 enemy left, just heavy attack them a couple of times to get some resources back before you do the 3rd wave. Because the 3rd wave is a little more challenging most of the time. Also, if you have some ground targeted AoEs, which is usually what damage dealers have in PvE, what I would do is just stick to the ranged enemies first, prioritize them, because the melee enemies will just run up to you. You don't have to worry about them, because the ranged enemies will tend to run away from you. So it can be a little bit of a pain. So this is why I say just like make sure you've got some resources for the 3rd wave, because the 3rd wave is a little more challenging. So this is why you need a heal, just for this part. Once you get past this, it's just fine. Healing. Yeah, these lurchers can be a bit rough. And they also bug out a little bit, as you can see. Okay. Hold on. So this is a verse. So this is what you're trying to get. And once you... Oh, dude, we're getting orbs. Hell yeah. Return of the King. Once you do your first stage, the next one will likely be much easier because you'll get one of these verses. If you can, get one that does damage, because in most cases the enemies do very little damage to you, so the faster you can kill them, the better. Right, time to literally do everything just as orb. I could just sit there and do nothing. So these verses, they last until the round is over. So what I'm just going to do is just make use of it. Look at that! Get orbed, mate! I'm not even doing anything. The only issue is the height. I have to make sure I'm close to where they're standing. Get this one over here. Look at that! Get orbed, mate! The only thing is they keep moving around a lot, so... Yeah, look at that, that's the big enemy done. Okay, I'll go for the mage over here. Yeah, it's just, it can be a bit annoying with this thing with melee enemies, because they'll follow you around, and because the orbs are far away from you, you just have to keep running. But yeah, so that's all there is to it. Now we get the other verse, Flame Aura, also another great verse. If you had this too, this wreck shot, all the melee enemies would be easy. So that's it. That's literally all you have to do. That's 2 verses. Each stage gives you a verse. Each stage has like that tough enemy at the end. That's going to be your only real threat. You might get something like the Crow Wraith or the Lich, which might be a bit more painful. What I would advise is just make sure you get Resolving Vigor. You can get this from PvP if you're not familiar. You just have to do the PvP tutorial, which is like basically just at level 10 you'll get this, and then you can just run around for a bit, do a couple of things, just listen to what people say. You'd learn how to use siege weapons, and then you basically just learn about the scrolls, about the objectives and stuff. There's no like PvP involved, so yeah. And it's like, yeah, it just takes a couple of minutes. So I would advise you do this, get Vigor, morph it to Resolving Vigor, which heals you for a shit ton over 5 seconds. You know, every class also has their own heal. For example, the other morph of Familiar here for Sorcerers gives you Clan Fear, which you activate that for a heal, so you could use that too. Let's go through them. So Night Blades, they get Strife and they get Malevolent Offering, so you could use those to heal yourself. Templar, they have like one of the best healing skill lines in the game. Get Rush Ceremony straight away. Wardens, you get Green Valence, you get Fungal Growth and Healing Seed, and then you also get Arctic Wind, which I think is also a good self-heal for them. And then Necromancer, you also get Living Death, which gives you Render Flesh, which is a good heal. And then Arcanist, you also get Curative Rune Forms with Rune Mend, which also scales off your highest resource. I hope they do this more for the other classes in the future, because it really does seem like they just put hybridization in this class much more than the others, and just fucking left the others for dead. But that's more important shit, I think, to worry about for now. Okay, so when you want to leave, all you have to do is go to the portal here. You'll get taken to the next area, which will be a boss. But if you don't want to bother with the boss, just take the index here. This will take you back to the entrance. Turn around, and then take the portal over here. And that will take you back to the Wayshrine you came in from. So we'll be taken to Auradon here. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So I'll leave it there. If you have any questions, if you're struggling with anything here, I know most people should be fine, but if you're new to the game, I can understand, and I've been there, so yeah, don't be afraid to ask. I'll leave it there though. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. See you next time. Take care for now.